Number two, great practice, especially the end. A lot of really good plays, guys excited. We've got a lot of energy in the building. Tomorrow we'll go helmets and shoulder pads, and so to get a lot more physical, we'll do some 9-on-7, and that's where you really start seeing the competition ramp up. Feel like we're in a good spot and excited where we're at, so I'll open up questions.
Hey, Coach, during Media Day, we asked a lot of the players about their favorite part of the facilities, and almost to a man, they talked about the recovery room. My question for you is, how much did that go into the designs, and what benefit do you think that could have during the season?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, really every part of this building, we want these guys here. We want them here, as much as possible, and good things happen when they're in the building. But it went into that because we've pushed so hard. It happened in the spring, but we even added another trainer. So we have 5 full-time trainers because we do push recovery so much that, you've got to have somebody. All the trainers handle recovery and the cupping and the needling and all the different machines, but we had to add, somebody else in there just because of the volume of guys that have bought in to taking care of their body.
Do you use the recovery room?
I have a couple times. The morning that I dropped Mac off at the airport, I picked him up around 4:45 and dropped him off at the airport. And instead of going home, I came up here and got one of the nap pods. It took me a 30-minute nap before my day started. So I've done it a couple times. It's some really good stuff.
Well, kind of along those lines, how much does it help to have this whole facility done this off-season as compared to the slow process of moving it?
Yeah, it is huge. Like even last night, I was thinking back, we're getting ready to have a team meeting, and then, last year at this time, we were in the south end zone in a makeshift team room, and sometimes I forget that we're going up into our team meeting, which makes a huge difference. Last year we were in Fort Ramirez, which was a makeshift training room that was just a box, and now we're walking into a state-of-the-art. So all of this, and then the other thing is it's so much more efficient, you had to really schedule in some travel time, and now we're able to get in and out of stuff, and it makes a huge difference.
What are you seeing from the team so far in these first 2 practices?
They're very close, but they're extremely competitive. Skylar Gill-Howard stood up in front of the team. Our first team meeting, he asked me to talk and just talked about how we've got to make each other better and how we have to practice. He talked about, we got to take care of each other. We talk about it all the time, practicing like pros. You turn on NFL practice, you're not going to see a bunch of guys on the ground, and you're not going to see guys taking, cheap shots or shots at each other, and we got to practice that way, and our guys do. But we also have to strain and really get after each other to make each other better. And so he made a big point of that. And I think that you see that. Like our last period, I had to blow the whistle a couple times and, kind of get it. What y'all different times don't see is I live in 2 extremes. I'm always happy and smiling, and then my other extreme is like that extreme. And so I had to go to the other extreme about, guys taking care of each other, but the coaches too, ripping some of those guys and making sure they were focused. It was good. It's always good. I actually kind of like doing that a little bit because it keeps everybody on edge and keeps them focused on making sure you're coaching what you're supposed to be coaching, players focusing in on what they're focusing in on, and getting better.
How is the way this team practices different from year 1 today?
I think, year one there was some guys, a few guys like this because it was an older team. You think about, you had Muddy, and you had Boog and Tony Bradford and Kosai. So Sir Roderick, those guys were old, so they played a lot of football. This team is like that, but you got to multiply it by 2 or 3 times because you're talking about a lot more guys that have played a lot more football. So I think that's a big part of knowing how to practice and what's important at practice.
You mentioned Skylar Gill-Howard. When we were talking to him a couple days ago, he talked about how he was kind of a coach at NIU.
Yeah.
Can he be just as much of a benefit there that he potentially could be on the field? You mentioned him getting in front and kind of addressing everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, he's a unique individual. You know, we haven't, I mean, we have 3 captains coming back. We have a leadership committee, and it's really not even honed in exactly where I want it. I'm kind of working through camp, but it wouldn't surprise me if when we got to game 1, if he had a C on his jersey. You know, he's that kind of guy. He's very vocal. The great thing about him is he backs it up. You know, he's not going to say, hey, we got to do this. I mean, he's got a little bit of growing issue, but he practiced today, and you wouldn't know that he had a growing issue because he was in here this morning at 5:30 getting stretched out and getting ready to practice, you know. So the great thing about him, he gets it from the standpoint of, you know, whenever he's talking and trying to get people to do this, then, you know, he backs it up. The great thing, man, I think I said it our first one, like David Bailey and Chetta, Lee Hunter and Skylar and Jaden Cofield, like these old guys have really taken some of the young guys underneath their wing and really teaching them. It's just making us better as a team. And Skylar's one of those guys that takes that serious.
Observation from the first 2 days, Micah's been out there to stretch, but then is he good to go?
Yeah, he's good to go. We're just working everything in, you know, and he's trying to get a couple things down as far as like learning. We want to play him outside and inside, so trying to get both of them down, but he's good.
Coach, can you talk about how far Bryce Ramirez has come since the NC State?
Man, you must have been like in my notepad, and like I'm gonna make a point tonight in our team meeting. Like he breaks his leg, the bone's through his skin. It's one of the worst injuries I've ever seen, and his reaction is just make sure everybody understands that I'm okay and just focus on playing the game, you know. And the reason I'm gonna make a point like that is because I said today to the coaches and the team, don't say stupid stuff. Like, if you're saying it to yourself, but once you vocalize it, then I might have said some other words with it, but once you say that out loud, it affects everybody. So, like, just different, like how you handle every situation. That's what Bryce does. He is such an incredible man. I mean, just a man. He is all business. I am really excited because Shield did not get to see him in the spring. You know, he watched film on him, he knew how tough he was, but he didn't get to see him like in action. And Bryce feels really good. You know, we had another issue, you know, and the reason he didn't go through spring was because of his leg, and so we took the advantage of that and took care of his shoulder. And so, man, he feels as good as he's ever felt, and he's making a big difference. And I think what's going to be good too is he's going to be another guy that helps us be versatile in different packages, being able to move people around.
How's Baron Morton looking?
He looks good, man. He's slinging it, man. He had a really good day today. Had a big throw. Reggie Virgil had a one-handed catch. Now he needed that one-handed catch because Mo broke one up on him that he should have caught, but he had a one-handed catch in 7-on-7. CD and Barron connected on a deep ball that, you know, he threw it into tight coverage, and he feels good, man. He's running around, and you know, Barron's one of those guys, man. He brings great energy. Will does too. That's why I love Mitch. Mitch does too. The 2 freshmen are learning how to do that, but those guys bring really good energy to practice. That's the thing that I say to them, but you know, as we're stretching, is hey, red shirts, bring energy to practice because it's not as taxing as some of these other guys for the quarterback position. He looks good. He pulled one today. I actually thought he handed it off. I was kind of in a crowd, and I thought he handed it off, and we had stopped it, and he pulled one and ran for about 20 yards. And, you know, of course, the defense always says, we can't hit you anyway, so why are you doing that? But it was a good play.
Got time for a couple more.
You're talking about inside linebackers. Can you discuss John Kareem, how he's looked spring and early?
Yeah, I'm excited. He's another guy that brings a lot of versatility because as we go into games, and let's say we're playing a heavy, you know, 2 tight end team, you know, he's a guy that can play inside linebacker, but we also can move him to the star, the safety position, and have a guy that's 230 pounds that can play in space, but also set an edge, you know, and defensively stop the run. You got to set edges. So I'm excited. You know, he's so smart. You know, he's like Barron. Like, if you cut those guys, they bleed red and black. I mean, this is their dream school. You know, Leighton Stone's another guy like that. I mean, those guys, they just love it. And it's really cool to have a guy that loves this place so much, passionate, extremely talented, and has a high football IQ.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.